Well, hello there. Welcome to the first episode of our new podcast, Ask a Martian. I'm Elias Vidal Martian.
And I'm Orchid Satellite Martian.
And we wanted to start this podcast to bring our wild and wacky fashion sensibilities to the masses. We want you to ask questions, and we want to give our opinions to the public.
We could say we're experts in fashion and vintage. We're definitely enthusiasts, hard enthusiasts.
This is our job.
Yeah.
We do this professionally.
We do this for a living. We're married and we do this for a living. It's pretty amazing. I basically get to shop and play dress up for a living. And I have been doing so since about the age of 14. So it's been a long time running.
Humble brag.
It's just a little humble. Just a tad humble. We really wanted to just extend the whimsy and fun of our world and be able to just give some interesting opinions on some interesting questions in regards to fashion.
Yeah, we know things about things.
Yeah, I'd say so. We're pretty excited about things.
We can opine pretty much endlessly about style, fashion icons, influence.
Subculture.
Yeah.
Designers.
Cool stuff.
Vintage.
We're cool kids.
Yeah.
You want to be cool with us?
Should we get started with some of the questions?
Yeah, let's get started.
So what's our first question?
So we have reached out to our fans on Instagram, and they have given us some of our first questions. So the first one that we got, which I feel is kind of ironic because
I love this.
We're known for wearing some pretty bold colors, patterns, doing pattern mixing. So the first question we got was, what are some tips and tricks for layering black pieces?
So to start, I used to wear almost all black. And then this thing happened for me where I think it started when I started dyeing my hair yellow, which has been yellow for like 8 years. And I realized that color is so much more playful and I can really enjoy playing with it. So it was hard. But going back to my roots, I think the fun thing about black is that you can really play with layering and texture.
I think that we call it a goth phase.
Yeah.
But
the phase
there's
isn't
definitely
over.
like some serious fashionistas that like to wear black all the time. You want to look slick. You want to look put together. Orchid, do you remember we were at IKEA last week and we saw this couple that looked like nihilists out of The Big Lebowski?
Oh, it was so good.
I had to like subtly take a picture
The
of them.
The level of intention was beautiful.
All they were missing was the ferret. Like, they had full-on black turtlenecks.
Yeah.
Expensive-looking black sweatpants.
Oh. Even like a nice slick black watch. Their tattoos match their outfits.
Cyber goth tattoos.
And I think that's the trick with anything is like making it your lifestyle and making it look intentional.
Full commitment.
Layering is so cool because it does look intentional. So when you layer black, there's lots of different ways that you can do it wrong and do it right. But I think the trick is just like playing with it to the point where you feel like it's intentional and it makes you feel good.
You know what? I love black knitwear.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like that is really fun. One pro tip we can offer to the public here. Clothing shavers. It's a thing. They sell them at Daiso. They cost like $1.50. Yeah, you can get one on Amazon. Shaves all those little pills off of your sweaters. Makes it look brand new. You don't want your blacks looking all gray, like they've been washed too many times. Maybe you pull it out of a Goodwill bin. Even if you did pull it out of a Goodwill bin, you can turn her out.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there's differences between like faded blacks and crisp blacks.
Also, black is a great color because you really can't go wrong re-dyeing it more black. So if you've washed your black too many times, go get that RIT dye for $4.99. Soak her, get her looking beautiful again
So good.
Right? I've done that a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You can even do it with really big pieces. One of my favorite things is putting down a drop cloth in the bathtub and then doing dyeing that way.
Yeah, you've made some amazing pieces using just black dye.
Yeah.
It's a cool effect.
So that's my tip, is look around, make your blacks blacker than black. The biggest black is black.
Look at your blacks next to your blacks. I always think of Indaria, Daria's sister. She's amazing. When she went through her goth phase and she was trying to get opinions on if her blacks matched her blacks, the trick is you don't want them to match perfectly. I mean, maybe, depending on the silhouette. Depending on the silhouette. I don't know.
Well, that's all you have when you wear black is the silhouette. Like, I mean, you're pretty much, like, literally a silhouette.
But there's different blacks. There's ink black. There's charcoal.
That's gray.
Dark charcoal's kind of black.
No.
No? Just hard no.
No. I
This one has
there's
strong
like
opinions
average
about
black
charcoal.
and then there's like Vanta black. Do you know about Vanta black?
I don't know about Vanta black.
So
Please
Vanta
inform.
black is like the darkest, blackest black. It's like a pretty much like, you know, absence of color completely. And it's like made by some like crazy carbon process. I think there's like a company that owns the patent to it. And, you know, basically you have to buy it from them if you want to use it. They actually covered a car in it, and like the thing almost disappeared completely when driving at night.
Like the invisible boatmobile in SpongeBob?
Yeah, just as stupid actually, because you're probably going to get into a car accident if people can't see you.
So it's the color you don't want to wear running at night.
Right.
Okay. So least likely color used in athletic wear?
Probably.
Okay. Got
I
it.
would say that Nike and Reebok are probably not buying into Vanta Black.
I don't know. Nike's pretty cool, and that sounds like a pretty cool color.
I don't know. I feel like, yeah, if you want to get like some cool black athletic wear, like
Like the
I really like
nihilists we
Oak.
saw?
Yeah, Oak NYC.
Oh, they do great menswear. Super high quality, and they make t-shirts that you can wash so much and the black doesn't fade.
Yeah.
Super nice, especially their pants. Highly recommend. Are there any other black brands that we should be shouting out?
I mean, if we want to get into, you know, a racial thing, I think we should absolutely be supporting black-owned businesses.
Absolutely.
So there's my plug on that.
It's a good plug.
Okay, we're done plugging that moment. Let's move on to the next thing, huh? What's our next question, Orchid?
So our next question is, what's your most prized find? So it's more specific towards us, but I think it's a fun thing. We probably have different ones. Do you want to say yours first?
We go thrifting a lot, so I kind of think there's a few different ways to take this, right? Like, what is like the most like valuable, like compared to like what you paid for it? You know, one time I was digging through the Goodwill bins, and literally under a nasty couch pillow, I found a pristine, authentic Hermes scarf that was just beautiful, had pastel, like harlequin dancers on
It's
it.
really
Like,
gorgeous.
so pretty. And, you know, I really, actually, that prompted me to learn how to authenticate Hermes garments. So that was a really good learning experience for me. And I feel like that was probably, you know, a really great find just because we paid about 10 cents for it. And, you know, it's worth probably somewhere in the $400 to $600 range. So that was a pretty good score.
So I guess that makes me wonder what the definition of prize really means. Because I think for you, you get excited about finding something of value. But also I think it's the experience of like finding out that it's valuable and researching.
Well, it's also pretty,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, but I think the thrill of the hunt and being able to learn something as we experience shopping is what's really exciting. Like for me, my most recent prize find is our pink Chanel suit. And I say ours because I feel like it's kind of like a shared joy.
Well, this was a really interesting experience, actually. So we were out at an estate sale in Los Angeles, it was an amalgamation of a few different estate sales actually by this one company that we really like. And it was really amazing. They had a lot of really good designer pieces. We showed up a little bit late by estate sale terms, like 10:30, right? So we were definitely not lining up at 6 a.m., getting a number, being first in line, which some people definitely do. And you'll definitely hear that in terms of strategy, for people that are like, hunters or whatever. But, we saw the suit and I was like, damn, that tweed looks like Chanel. No tags. But, the stitching looked nice. The construction looked nice.
It was my favorite color, pink, too.
Yeah.
It's like this Pepto-Bismol 60s bubblegum pink that's just perfection.
Like,
very classic.
Look up Jackie O. Like, the suit she was wearing when Kennedy got shot. It's basically that suit minus the black trim plus pink bows on the pockets. So you should all be conjuring that mental image now.
It's a good mental image.
Okay, we're all caught up. So it's like this really, really like thick, nubbly tweed. And, during that time period, there wasn't quite as much fast fashion in terms of, having things get knocked off like immediately and then like seeing it come up at Fashion Nova, 3 weeks after the runway has debuted. We're talking, years of garments getting passed around and, designers making their own version. And they usually still wouldn't have access to the same kind of materials or finishes. So we were very curious about this because there was no tags on the garment.
Nothing.
But we had just been having a conversation about how sometimes there's no tags on garments, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why garments might not have tags. I mean, some people just think, oh, someone cut them out because it made them uncomfortable. But a lot of things that may have been imported and still are, in order to get them through customs, you take the tags off to hide the fact that they may be of value. So a lot of designer garments, especially during like some of the earliest years of people traveling, they would cut the tags off. So when I saw it, I was really excited because even if it wasn't Chanel, it was a fabulous piece and it was a good price. How much did we score it for, Elias?
I think it was like $20 or something.
Yeah.
But we started looking through it, trying to authenticate it. And in the pocket, this is like a gift, in terms of trying to date a garment. I found this weird coin that said Telefonico on it. And it had a little telephone. And it said 6607 below that. I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I look it up on eBay. The coin's worth like $8. But what's more exciting is that coin would have been inserted into a payphone in Italy in order to make a phone call back in the day, right? Payphones. So the date of manufacture of that coin was 1966. The 7th month, July. So we know that the suit had to be before that because, you have to purchase the suit first in order to put the
coin inside the suit.
in the pocket.
Yeah, it all makes sense. Yeah.
So we know we're looking at a suit prior to 1966.
So this made it really fun to hunt it a bit more. So we researched some of the iconic Chanel 60 suits that we could find. And we didn't find anything that's exactly like that. However, there are so many that are very, very similar with the pocket placement, the detailing of the bow, the quilting on the inside is identical to the quilting of other ones. Most Chanel suits also have a chain, a metal-weighted chain that's stitched at the bottom of all of their jackets, some of their skirts. And that's a really good signifier. And you have to look at how the chain is stitched on because they're usually hand-stitched really carefully. And they're really strong. The chains are usually a weighted silver, sometimes gold. Ours was a silver one.
It was a brass kind of like, maybe not gold plated, but definitely gold tone chain.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think of what are some other signifiers that we noticed.
Yeah, so the quilting on the interior of the garment, basically Chanel used really heavy fabrics and they don't want you to feel like you're wearing a sofa when you just laid out thousands of dollars for your new couture suit, right? So they would go in and tack the interior of the garment together. So the interfacing is tacked to the tweed, is tacked to the lining, which is a really nice cotton. So you can see all of that hand tacking throughout the garment, as well as that really nice quilting. The other thing that we noticed too is that, which is very characteristic of Chanel, is that they would leave, some allowance in the inseam. You, again, don't want to lay out that kind of money and then not be able to take your garment in or out a few inches when your body changes over the years. Fashion used to be considered an investment. You would buy something and you're like, I'm going to wear this for the rest of my life. My body might change. The garment will change with my body. So it's less of a acquisition, getting rid of, immediate recycling of garments, things that break tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously this particular thing has been around for the last almost 60 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it looks so good. It's crazy. I'm sorry to be nerding out so much about this suit, but I literally was having a conversation with my friend and coworker about how he recently bought himself a Chanel jacket, and I was like, if I could splurge on a Chanel, it would be a pink suit, because I love wearing pink business suits. It makes me feel so in charge, but still fun. So this was a dream for me, and it was really fun for us both to get nerdy and research and ask opinions from experts that we know. It was just a really cool affirmation. And we are at the, 95% that it's real Chanel. We have a couple more people we want to authenticate and talk through. But all the signs are there that it's real. And the fact that it doesn't have tags doesn't necessarily mean that they were taken off either. Some were originally designed without tags to be sold to companies as the base for ones they would resell within the US. And we think that's probably what it is.
Yeah, we did notice a few other things at this estate sale. And it would have been great to find out a little bit more, but, we weren't too sure who it originally belonged to. But there were a few garments there that looked like possibly they were samples, or, maybe they were, unfinished in some way. And actually, in the past, it wasn't that uncommon to have a partially unfinished garment. You would buy a dress and then they would say, okay, this will fit size 32 to 36 waist. So, when you go in there, they will, put that final button right where your waist is so that it fits you perfectly. Can you imagine,
It's amazing,
buying a garment today anywhere and having them be like, yeah, let me take this in for you.
Yeah.
So it fits you perfectly.
So good.
Flatters you in every way.
I feel like now shopping, it's a lot of just like, I'm just going to buy it anyways and hope it fits and then return it if it doesn't.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, I've done this.
You've done this a lot.
Well, how are you supposed to know online?
Yeah.
The perils.
That's a whole nother world. But I guess in closing to that question, it's really hard to say some of my favorite scores and pieces, because we both kind of have fashion ADD. So it changes weekly. I get really excited about things I score.
Orchid, how many pieces of clothing did we buy today?
Probably 50 to 60 garments. 4 hats that are amazing. Pair of shoes, maybe 15 pieces of jewelry.
Okay, so what's your favorite score from today that we...
My hat.
Which one?
My pirate hat. It's like a modern version of a Vivienne Westwood pirate hat with a giant blue ostrich feather plume going down your back like a mullet. It is beautiful.
Like a navy blue skunk.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to pull out some crazy jodhpurs and crazy layered Vivienne Westwood outfit with some pointy buckle boots.
Yes.
I have the image in my head. I'm ready for it.
I'm living for it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the At World's End collection by Vivienne Westwood, look it up.
Look it up. The prints are extraordinary. The buckles, the details. Really underappreciated moment in fashion history.
Yeah, one thing that
Exquisite.
Vivienne Westwood and Malcolm McLaren were really, really good at is merchandising. You know, they would change over their whole store just completely for every collection. And actually, that's something that I really like about modern streetwear, too. You know, we live in the Fairfax Village neighborhood, the home of streetwear. And it is really cool to see these shops completely change their visual design and decor for each collection. So, you know, that was something that Vivienne Westwood did a lot. And, you know, even changing the name of the store, things like that. You know, I thought that was really, really, really impressive. And, you know, it would definitely make me want to shop there if I knew that there was going to be different things all the time.
It also makes you feel like part of a community. I really admire designers that create an aesthetic that goes beyond just like a couple of garments. It's kind of, I mean, it's really the source of fashion inspiration for me is subcultural style where you feel involved in other people and able to communicate, you know, your tastes through the way you dress. So I think streetwear is doing that. And I think that designers like Vivienne Westwood have always done that. And those are the kind of pieces that I really love. And that's why I like talking about those references because it extends outfits to make you feel like you're part of a community.
You know what I would like to see? I'd like to see bands become representatives of like fashion labels again. Like
I have not seen enough of that.
Okay, so like little known fact, or maybe not. Maybe I'm not giving these people enough credit. Okay, so you may or may not know that the Sex Pistols were basically an advertisement for Vivienne Westwood's brand. They were put together like a boy band, except they're punks, obviously.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, the Sex Pistols were a punk band that, I don't know the year they started, but they primarily started in the late 70s. They went in, I mean, they still tour kind of today. However,
Everyone knows Sid's dead.
Yes. Yeah, Sid's dead. So
Johnny
it's a little
Rotten's
bit different
kind of a
now.
dick.
Yeah, not a big fan. However, their relevance in the fashion industry is important. And I can get very, very nerdy about this.
Yeah, let's this is going down a little
So
train
Elias
here.
is going to talk a little bit more to tone me down because I could go on for 2 hours of a podcast.
So suffice it to say, they were basically just representatives of the label. And Vivienne Westwood then again did the same thing with Bow Wow Wow later on in the 80s, where Bow Wow Wow was really, you know, showing the new collection of clothing there. They're one of my favorite bands as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of amazing bands during that time that really definitely did represent fashion trends, and it's a really cool thing to see. I guess before we go too crazy about that, do you want to talk about the final question?
Yeah, let's do the final question. Yeah. We definitely got on a little bit of a train there.
As we do.
So, okay, here is another one. Someone is asking, how should I haggle or ask for a deal from a seller online or at the flea market? So this is interesting. I feel like I do a lot more online shopping than you.
Yes.
Like eBay, Poshmark, Depop, Etsy. I'm deep into all of it, and I want to find what I want to find. But, you know, we do a lot of communicating with sellers in person too, right?
No, definitely. I mean, it's something we do. Every time we purchase items, we at least try to communicate the price. Sometimes, you know, things are good deals. You don't have to. But other times, I think it's appropriate to haggle if you're kind and communicative, and it's mutually beneficial to both of you.
Yeah. I think one thing, if you're like going to a flea market, say, and you're trying to get a good deal on clothing, it really, really helps to buy more than one thing. I mean, it's one thing to be like, okay, this jacket is $50. You don't like it's $50. You offer $40. But let me tell you, if you get that jacket plus a dress, plus a scarf, plus some shoes maybe you're looking at that whole bundle for $100 instead. And, you know, especially in a flea market kind of scenario, people want to sell their stuff. They don't want to pack it back up at the end of the day. So if you're taking a bundle off their hands, they're way more likely to give you a good price on it.
Yeah, I think with anything like this, you have to really gauge what the person's like, where they're at, like what their intention is, and also like create a good relationship with anybody that you're purchasing from, especially if you purchase from them more than once. You know, you want to thank them for the last purchase, create that relationship, and people will give you good deals. They'll remember you, they'll give you amazing pieces, they'll remember your style, your sizes. I think that's one of the most important things, is creating that relationship, and you'll get those deals.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they're also like, don't you want to buy this thing? It's so your style. I saved it right for you. And you're like, yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
But in general, it's a really, really good thing. And, you know, I really love supporting local sellers. That being said, they might know more about you than the garment, but you might know more than them about the garment. So don't feel shy to pass. Know what your budget is and just say, that's my budget. You know what? I'm going into this flea market with $200 to spend. I'm not going to spend more than that. You know, save your pennies. It might take you a few years to find something, but you know what? Just bide your time. Get your eBay saved searches on lock.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes you see something for one price and you wait it out and then you find it for a great price later. Be patient with fashion. It is so worth it. You will get amazing deals. But that being said, if you see a really good score, go for it.
Yeah, and don't
I'm all
be
about
too
encouraging
afraid
that.
to like buy eBay stuff that maybe the picture isn't the best, but you know what they're selling. Maybe they don't know what they're selling. You know what I mean? Maybe you get a good deal on it that way. But in general, I think you really don't want to be offering 50% of the price. When you're making an offer, you really want to be, you know, asking for a maximum discount of about a third. You know, that's generally what the consensus is around that. So, you know, if something costs $100, I might offer 75, maybe 70. It depends on your relationship with the person, obviously, but I don't think anyone appreciates someone going and saying, hey, you have this for $100, so can I be a cool guy and just score it for a nice, like, $40? No, nobody likes that guy.
No, and that's the other thing, is just be kind. I've seen so many people that just it makes me sad how sometimes people get so caught up in getting deals that they don't it's not about the clothing anymore. And my whole thing is that it's just about the clothing. It's about having fun, finding amazing pieces. And that's really what we want to talk about, is just how to make fashion more joyous, the experience of shopping more joyous, and we want to help support that.
Yeah, I mean, right now we are in a situation where the modern fashion industry is a big contributor to global warming, to climate change, to all kinds of future negativity for our planet. And the number one best thing you can do is buy clothing that's already in existence, because it is not creating any more waste or any more pollution, right? There's already millions and billions of garments out there in this world in your size, in your taste, waiting to find their way onto your body. So I would just, as my final plug of this show, say, go to your secondhand stores, go to your vintage stores, rescue some items, you know, bring them into your wardrobe and give them a new lease on life.
Absolutely. I think that is the perfect plug to end the show. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. If you have questions or comments or anything you want to submit, please contact us. The best way to contact us is at martianfamilyvalues@gmail.com. Most importantly, we'd like to thank our amazing producer. What's his name, Elias?
Josh McVitie.
Yeah.
AKA Mellow Code. And if you would like to support him and his amazing music, go and follow him on Instagram at Mellow Code Music or on Spotify at Mellow Code. Until next time, remember to dress to the max.
And we're the Martian family.
Blasting off.
Bye, guys.
Bye.